Hi everyone, I'm Jack from Click Energy, and in video 3 I'll be doing an introduction for you into the online quote tool that Click Energy has developed specifically for Viridian Associates. Also, I will be doing an overview of the different electricity meter tariffs that you will encounter in various states of Australia. Let's get into it, shall we? In this video, I will be taking you through how to understand the energy usage profiles on the quote tool, also how to enter exact usage for a more accurate quote, and finally, understanding the different electricity tariff types that you will encounter across Australia. So here we are on the Viridian homepage. Once we click on Become a Customer, it takes us through to the Viridian Click Energy microsite. On here, as always, we go down and click on Get a Quick Quote, which takes us through to the page where we enter a postcode. Here we will start with a Victorian postcode, do 3000, and we'll choose an electricity and natural gas quote. Moving through to the quote function, the very first thing that you notice here is the energy usage profiles. Now these are really good if you don't have a bill and a customer is not 100% certain exactly how much they're using, but have a rough idea of whether they're a small or large user. You can simply choose minimal, small, medium, or large, and that will give you a rough estimate of what the monthly cost will be if that customer was with Click Energy. But most customers are going to want an accurate bill comparison. In that case, once you have a bill, you can click this button here, enter your exact usage, and then you can proceed to place the exact usage in that a customer has. But the very first thing you need to do once you've clicked that button is identify the electricity tariff type that the customer has. I will now go through the ones that are available in Victoria. Now, many customers will have a peak-only meter. If you're looking at a bill and there is only one flat rate, chances are it's a peak-only meter. Very, very simple. However, customers will often also have an off-peak rate as well. Now, the first one down here is a peak plus a controlled load. Now, a control load is a specific electrical circuit within a house for one product. So, for example, it might be the hot water system running at a cheaper rate, or potentially a pool pump. If you need help identifying that, why not talk to the customer? Chances are they'll know what their off-peak rate is for. Alternatively, you can often find information on the bill. It might actually say peak plus controlled load off peak, or it might use other words such as a dedicated circuit, which is the same thing, just being called differently. That there is a peak plus controlled load. A customer may also have an off peak that is based on time of day. A common one for that regards is just a peak meter and an off peak charge as well. If you look at the bill, quite often it will say the specific times. So in that case, you will know that it's a peak and off-peak meter based on time of day, which is this third one down here. Of course, you can ask your customer as well, is your off-peak based on a specific product or is it based on time of day? The last one here is flexible pricing. Now, flexible pricing is still a time of day rate, but what it has a peak rate, it has a shoulder rate, and it has an off-peak rate. So it's very simple. If you are looking at a customer's bill and there are 3 different rates on there, that would be a flexible pricing rate. And of course, if you're unsure, we revert back to the peak only rate because that's the most common. Now, when choosing one of these, as you can see, it then changes the quote function as well. It then gives you the 3. If you choose flexible pricing, it will give you peak, shoulder, and off peak. And some areas, as you can see here, also have summer and winter times of rate. So it's important to identify all of that information on a bill when you are using it. So as I said, that is for Victoria. Let's take a quick look at some of the other states in Australia. And let's go to New South Wales, 2000. Again, we'll go through and get a quick quote. And if it hasn't already, you need to click enter the exact usage, but that's already come up for us here. So here we can already see the very first one has come up with a different classification, and when I open it, we can see a lot of different ones here. Now, New South Wales is based a lot more around the controlled load circuit. So as we can see here, domestic is another way of saying peak only. If a customer only has one flat rate in New South Wales, they would be on a domestic only meter. Of course, the customer may have domestic plus controlled load 1, or they may have domestic and control load 2. Same as in Victoria, they are controlled loads, but there's actually 2 options available in New South Wales. Or of course, they could have controlled load 1 and 2. So it's important in identifying that when looking at a bill, all that information should be very clearly mentioned on the bill. And if the customer has their meter based on time of day, that would be the domestic TOU, which stands for time of use. So if they have a peak and off-peak or a peak shoulder and off-peak rate based on time of day, that would be the time of use meter here. And as always, if you're unsure, it reverts back to the peak only rate. Now we will go to the Sunshine State, Queensland, 4,000. Again, we can see it's changed again in regards to what the classifications are known as. A peak only tariff or a domestic tariff in Queensland is known as a single rate tariff or tariff 11. Tariff 11 is the peak only rate that households will have in Queensland. Similar to New South Wales, Queensland is based quite strongly around the controlled load. However, they don't call it controlled load in Queensland. They call it Tariff 31 or Tariff 33. They are still controlled loads, but as you can see here, it mentions night rate. The Tariff 31 is a controlled load that only runs at nighttime. For example, someone might have a hot water system, but only want it to be heating up throughout the night, so they can use it at nighttime and in the morning when they're getting ready for work. So they will have the Tariff 31 rate because that is the cheapest rate they can have to have their hot water heated. Alternatively, they may have Tariff 33. Similar to all other controlled loads, and it can be run more than just at night. And of course, some people might want to take advantage of both Tariff 31 and Tariff 33. Important just to identify that on a bill when you are going through that with a customer. Or of course, there is Tariff 12, which is a peak only rate as well. The bill will clearly distinguish whether it's Tariff 11 or Tariff 12. And finally, if a customer is unsure, we recommend the quote tool to revert back to a single rate only tariff. Lucky last, we have South Australia. Save the easiest for last. South Australia is very simple. There is simply a single rate tariff only or a single rate tariff plus one control load. That's it. If you look at the bill and there's one tariff, single rate. If you look at the bill and there is an off-peak tariff at all, control load. Simple as that. That is the way that you can look at a bill. You can identify the what tariff rate the customer is on, and then you can do a bill comparison for them.